Welcome to Star Wars Action News, helping Star Wars collectors collect better. This is Brock, Star Wars Action News Book Club Liaison, with a review of the novelization of Star Wars The Force Awakens by Alan Dean Foster. Review copy courtesy of Del Rey Books. The novelization of Star Wars The Force Awakens is the first movie novelization I have read in almost 10 years when I reread the original trilogy novelizations again when we were kicking off the Star Wars Action News Book Club in the summer of 2006. A younger me, in late elementary school and early teenage years, read his share of movie novelizations. But as I got into high school and into college and beyond, the only novelizations I really read were the Star Wars ones. I would find myself reading books that movies were based upon, but not really novelizations of movies. Even in this day and age of quick turnaround for movies from the theater to the home market, movie novelizations are still put out there for the public and seem as popular as ever. And the author here, Alan Dean Foster, is no stranger to writing movie novelizations. Mr. Foster has stayed prolific in his movie novelizations over the years. He wrote novelizations in the Alien, Terminator, and Transformers movie series, amongst others, and most recently of note, he wrote the novels for the two J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. Of course, his most famous novelization is for the original Star Wars, where he was the ghostwriter for George Lucas. Mr. Foster also wrote the first EU novel, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and many years later the Star Wars EU novel The Approaching Storm, which is a prologue to Episode 2. But given his connection to the original Star Wars novelization, I was surprised to see Alan Dean Foster was tapped to write the one for The Force Awakens. It is a curious, but if you think about it, appropriate choice, especially with those of us who think that there are just too many plot beats in The Force Awakens, or if you prefer, similar to those in A New Hope. Those repeated plot beats I found went down much easier in novel form than I did when I'm seeing the movie in the theater for the first time. No doubt now, having seen the movie multiple times, I'm used to the story, but for whatever reason the parallels don't seem as pronounced here in the novel. Foster is the kind of author who doesn't placate readers, doesn't overdo it or hold on to moments for any length of time. But every now and then it would have been nice to linger on this or that. The settings, the surrounding areas, seem to get the short shrift. Knowing the movie, like with his Star Wars novelization, helps with the reading of this book immensely, as there is very little description in how people look or sound, and little description of places and surroundings or anything else. He keeps it mostly to the point. The action scenes seem to be a complement to the memories in my head, as opposed to describing them for someone who hasn't seen the movie. The Falcon chase on Jakku is nicely paced and written, but the attack on Maz's palace is not as well described for my tastes. The X-Wing run on the Starkiller Base Oscillator helps explain the objective with more detail, but the dogfighting and fancy flying do not pop off the page. Despite this style of writing that didn't always agree with me, his prose is easily absorbed, and overall, I was thankful for the lean pace. Without a doubt, the most fun for me of reading a Star Wars novelization is what I call the extras. The author is often working off a script or sometimes an earlier draft, so there are differences from the actual movie. Scenes that were written but not filmed, or filmed and then cut from the final movie, are often in the novelization. Sometimes the stage direction, slug lines, parentheticals in the script get fleshed out into descriptions. Names of characters, cities, and planets we may not have caught or may not have been said in the movie, we can now learn and soak in. For example, I learned the little Jakku settlement town is called Tuanul. Max Van Sydow's character is Lorne Santeca. The big guy in the chair and his girl in Maz's palace, they're named Grumgar and Bazine. Maz's planet is Takodana, and Dakar is the planet the Resistance is on. We get our first extra right away when the book opens with Leia's introspection on the state of the galaxy, how she needs and misses her brother, how this new republic is on the verge of collapse, and other similar ideas like that were discussed in the novel Star Wars Aftermath. People prefer to be told what to do, not be completely free. Without the Empire's hand, the infrastructure wasn't functioning, and people didn't have patience for the turnover, etc. We get a sentence or two of additional description for Leia and her actions, her thoughts, motivations, fear, but nothing substantial, nothing you couldn't glean off the movie, especially on repeat viewings. And for the most part, the extras are in this vein. Finn's plight on Jakku is accentuated. The author talks of how inexperienced Finn is with making decisions or knowing what to do. It's all in the movie, but again, accentuated here in a brief but quality way. General Hux's thoughts on how he wonders how many others could be capable of doing what Finn did. We do get some much-needed explanation as to exactly what Starkiller Base is. Why is it a planet and a space station at the same time, etc.? But we don't get any further information on Snoke. In fact, we get even less here than we do in the movie. Rey, Finn, and Poe's characters all benefit from additional dialogue in the narrative format of the book. Rey telling Finn she was flying anything she could get her hands on since birth, and how we get a better sense of how adept Rey is at fixing the Millennium Falcon. We get into Finn's headspace a bit, Finn's sense of right or wrong, how proud he is of what makes him different than other First Order troopers, and I found those insights quite refreshing. Of course, there are times when the actor's emphasis from the movie is in my head, but is not reflected in the description on the page. Finn is less comedic in the book form, for example, or the Poe Dameron lines, "Who speaks first? You speak first?" don't play as well. And Kylo Ren's struggle isn't as potent when he speaks to the Vader helmet, or when he's speaking to Snoke. Han Solo plays quite well throughout the book. His first scene, when he and Chewie board the Falcon, works really well and reveals well in book form who is boarding the ship on spools. It plays like a little mystery. Foster also keeps the identity of the Millennium Falcon a secret when Finn and Rey steal it from the junkyard, and we learn which ship they stole with Rey and Finn, so to speak, once Han Solo says his line about stealing it back. You get what I'm saying? The Han Solo-Kylo Ren climactic scene plays very well in print. We get Kylo Ren's struggle, though it is quite clear in the movie, here with more clarity, and Han Solo's expressions from the movie are nicely complemented in word form. Interestingly, Chewie's bowcaster bolt when he shoots Kylo Ren on the bridge at the end of the scene almost gets lost in the prose, but the shot is nicely remembered to be affecting Ren in the final confrontation with Finn and Rey on the planet's surface. The author reminds us a few times that Kylo Ren isn't 100% because of that blaster bolt. The lightsaber battle, as described here in the novel, lays credence to my theories on who Rey is and what may happen with her in the future of the trilogy. What those are too in-depth to go into here, but I mentioned some of that on the Star Wars Action News end-of-the-year review of The Force Awakens to the rest of the staff. While the extras are mostly one sentence here and there are a few scenes included that aren't in the film. The Uncard Plutt scene on Jakku, when he asks to buy BB-8, is the first real difference from the movie scene. Rey negotiates with Plutt and is actually ready to sell BB-8, but she reconsiders, and she and Plutt have a moment of brief argument and confrontation. And we get an extra Plutt scene when he shows up at Maz Kanata's cantina, but I won't tell you anything more about that scene. Read it for yourself and enjoy. Another added brief scene is Leia, after hearing of the report of what happened to the village on Jakku in the beginning of the book, sends an envoy to the Republic to appeal to them to attack the First Order before it's too late. And you can guess where that envoy is when the superweapon is used. We also get a paragraph explaining how Poe was tortured before Kylo Ren did his Force interrogation on him, which is completely implied in the movie, given Poe's bloody face and exhaustion, but here they describe it for a few more sentences. There's also the missing scene from the movie of Poe Dameron waking up unconscious on Jakku after he and Finn steal the TIE fighter. And there's an additional action beat during the finale of Finn and Rey aboard a snowspeeder on the Starkiller Base surface. Star Wars The Force Awakens novelization is a fast read that will definitely hold your attention. While we do get some neat new scenes and some fleshing out in parts, I was hoping for a little more insight or clarification on some more aspects of the movie. Regardless, the book reads well and is a nice complement to the film, so perhaps Mr. Foster will be back for more with Episode 8 in 2017. For Star Wars Action News and the Star Wars Action News Book Club, this is Brock. Thanks for watching this video. You can see full episodes of Star Wars Action News with more collecting news and reviews at swactionnews.com. We also have thousands of toy and collectible photos in our photo gallery. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. May the pegs be stocked and the Force be with you.